Welcome to week 7, the research process, finding and evaluating sources. Finding and evaluating sources. Please pause this video to read through the slide on learning outcomes using sources. Why learn to find and evaluate sources? We are surrounded with so much readily available information at our fingertips that it is sometimes hard to differentiate fact from fiction. Of course, not everything you read on the internet is true, but how do you know what's a good source to rely on for personal information in your life? How about for an academic essay? Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide. What is research? Research is about acquiring new information or new knowledge, which means that it is always begins with a gap in your knowledge. That is something you don't know. More importantly, research is always goal-oriented. That is, it always begins from a specific question you need to answer, a specific gap in your body of information that you need in order to accomplish some particular goal. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide. The essential building blocks of research writing. Begin with a question to which you don't know the answer, and that can't be answered just by going to appropriate reference source. That is, begin from a research question, not a homework question. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide. Please pause this video to examine the research process from step 1 to step 8. The research process is not a linear process in which you must complete step 1 before moving on to step 2 or 3. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide. Narrowing the topic. Types of research papers. Most research assignments ask you to engage in two approaches: explore and evaluate, present an analysis, or persuade, present an argument. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide, and don't forget to write notes. Research questions. No matter what your topic is, you can follow the same 4-level process in narrowing your topic and developing your research question. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide. Make sure that you take some notes. Finding sources. Please pause this video to read through the learning outcomes for finding sources. Finding sources. Investigating is essential to your research because the questions you ask will help create a convincing and compelling argument. Please pause the video to continue reading through this slide, and don't forget to take notes. Primary and secondary sources. While most scholarly sources are secondary sources, you will sometimes be asked to find primary sources in your research. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide, and don't forget to take notes. How to read scholarly articles. Academic papers are essentially reports that scholars write to their peers, present and future, about what they've done in their research, what they found, and what they think is important. Depending on the discipline, they often have a structure reminiscent of the lab reports you've written for science classes. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide. Finding scholarly articles. What if your project also requires scholarly articles? To find scholarly articles, you need to look in a database. A research database lets you search across stacks of millions of articles published in thousands of academic journals. General databases have a little bit of everything, just like a big retail store. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide. Also make sure that you have access to our online library. Be sure to investigate our online library as you work on your argumentative essay. Continue. Finding scholarly articles. Use advanced search within a database. Use the Boolean operators and or not to combine your keywords in a single search. If you know you want the entire article, check the box for the full text. Don't do a search that is too broad or too narrow. Use quotation marks around a compound term. Add other keywords to narrow your search. Source analysis. Evaluating sources. Determining trustworthiness. To determine the trustworthiness of a source, you want to ensure that a source is current, written by an expert, accurate, and unbiased. You'll want to consider the rhetorical context of a source, including its purpose, audience, and focus. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide. Learning outcomes for source analysis. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide. Here's a continuation of the learning outcomes for source analysis. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide. Here's a practice question using the CRAAP method. What are the key questions for each part of the CRAAP method? List out the questions in a summary of your own words. You'll see an infographic in our Moodle site regarding the CRAAP method. Evaluating websites using the 4 moves. Stop, investigate the source, find better coverage, trace claims, quotes, and media to the original context. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide that talks more in detail the 4 moves. Here's an independent activity that you can do. It is non-gradable. Go to social media platform of your choice. Find a post that you can perform the sift process. Take notes as you go through each step. Annotated bibliographies. Keep these suggestions in mind as you construct an annotated bibliography. Please pause this video to continue reading through this slide. Here's a recap of this presentation. Analyze what is research. You are able to write a research question, narrow your topic, find credible sources using the CRAAP method, perform the 4 moves on web sources, evaluate sources, and annotate bibliographies. Questions to consider. What have you discovered during your research? Have you learned new theories, opinions, or aspects of your subject? Did anything surprise you, intrigue you, or make you look further? The end.